Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. South Africa's Mineral Resources Minister, Susan Shabangu, has stated that the state-owned mining company will be treated in the same way as any private sector mining company. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer is in the studio to tell us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Minister Shabangu says the state mining company won't be privileged in any way. What brought about that comment?
There was a lot of concern, particularly by the Chamber of Mines, that the state mining company would have special privileges, that it wouldn't need to go through the normal rigmarole of environmental licensing and water licenses, and also, near mine communities, what the mines will do, or the particular licensee will do for the near mine community, and a whole string of conditions that you have to comply with before you get a mining license. And I think Susan Shabangu was correct just before her roadshow going to Boston and New York and also Canada to clear up this issue, that there's going to be no favours for the state mining company. It'll stand on its own, and that it must compete with the rest of the industry and also do whatever the rest of the industry has to do in terms of compliance.
Well, that's good news.
That is good news.
Which minerals is the state hoping to focus on, and how does this affect the African mining company that's already in existence?
Yeah, that company, that state-owned mining company, is called African Exploration, Mining and Finance. And it's in coal and uranium at the moment. And this is what the minister is saying. We had a power crisis here. Why did we have a power crisis? There were many reasons. But one of the reasons was that a lot of the coal, of our country's coal, had been committed on exports because, the particular utility had not actually contracted fast enough to get its hands on the coal. She's saying we don't want a repeat of this. She's saying, look, I'm going on roadshows to America and people are asking me about energy. We've got to have some handle on energy. We don't want another crisis. So therefore we want to go into energy, minerals and metals so that we can supply Eskom if necessary, or we can divert coals, or we know what the situation is in that industry. And the same with uranium. Uranium has already been declared a strategic mineral. There were strident calls yesterday by coal experts for coal to be declared a strategic mineral as well. People are fearing that we're giving away too much of our coal at the wrong time. It was fine when the oil price was very low. Oil price is no longer low. It gives a lot of scope for people to get into energy, minerals and metals. And coal has got a bad name because it puts carbon dioxide into the air. They're saying, look, there's so many more uses for coal. Don't you realize this is a miracle mineral? We can make chemicals, we can produce petrol, we can produce diesel, we can produce all other fuels. We can also help with electricity. And obviously you have to then control the carbon dioxide emission. But at the moment, most of our coal is just being burnt, and we're putting carbon dioxide into the air, and 60% of it is not being used.
Now, she also mentions that the overhaul of the MPRDA is on track. Can you give us some background as well as the details of that?
Yeah, the MPRDA, that's the Mineral Petroleum Resources Development Act. That is the act which gave state control of the minerals and metals. Before 1994, 1995, before this act, private sector owned our metals and minerals in the ground. After this act, the state became the custodian. So it was a monumental change. And it was such a big change that has been difficult to administer. It was definitely under-resourced, and so it ran into a lot of problems, a lot of criticisms. The interpretations given to loosely worded legislation just ran amok. And we having an audit at the moment to try and get things back into line. We've seen that a lot of prospecting licenses have gone out to people who haven't got a clue about the licenses, the minerals that they get their hands on. And when the minister says, okay, we want to see you on a site meeting, they don't pitch up for a site meeting. So she's getting a handle on this, and she's tightening up the legislation. She wants to sort of release the emphasis on control, try and bring in an enabling environment, and also she's keen on the C word, competitive. She says when it comes to industrial minerals and metals, you can't look at South Africa on its own. You've got to look at all other countries in the world. What are they doing? So if you're going to attract investment and make it a favourable investment destination from South Africa's point of view, you've got to have competitive legislation. That's why she keeps going on international road shows to see, where the sticking points are and to see whether what she's planning is a response to what people have been anticipating. So hopefully this bit of legislation will come into line before middle of next year. I think there is going to be a little bit of latitude as to when it comes in, because she wants it to be 100% correct. And she's spending quite a bit of time. But she feels that on a research side and rewriting of the Act, she's very much on track.
Now, the other big news is the fact that the ANC wants to get these investigators or the researchers to see models of how to do a state mining company, but the ANC Youth League is very much against this.
Yeah. See, what's happened, you've got the nationalisation debate, and there are people who are pro-nationalisation, and that's the ANC Youth League. You've then got the state mining debate. Should we have a state mining company? The existing government is saying, look, we're totally against nationalisation of the mines, but we're totally in favour of a state mining company. Well, we've already got a state diamond mining company, Alexcor. Hasn't done particularly well, as the minister pointed out. Look, when Alexcor ran into trouble, did we run and pump state funds into it? Did we take taxpayers' money and put that? Not a chance. Will we expect these state mining companies to pay tax? Definitely. They've got to be treated like everyone else. So we must distinguish between state mining company, which people are now accepting. Even Anglo-American Cynthia Carroll said, I'm totally opposed to nationalisation, but I'm neutral on a state mining company, provided it's not privileged. If it's not privileged, I'm neutral on it. If the state wants it, they can have it. They've got their particular reasons for wanting it, normally strategic, and it's around energy. So it sounds like there is logic. They are extending some of their thoughts to platinum. But if you look closely at platinum, it's also really, its future could be as an energy mineral. Because, if the fuel cell does materialize, and let's face it, fuel cells are already commercial. Your phone chargers, there are a whole lot of things that are already commercial, and they fuel cells, and they've got the platinum in it, they've got the platinum group metals. The big prize, of course, and they're expecting, global car manufacturers expecting down the line, maybe 2016, where, you will have a fuel cell in your car, and you'll have a vehicle driven by fuel cells. So then again, it makes a bit of sense if a state mining company has a handle on that, because it's going to be a replacement for our existing internal combustion engine. So again, it's energy. So there does seem to be logic in that. And ANC Youth League, of course, they can only chant nationalisation. They, in fact, don't listen to any other arguments. So when the ANC said, look, we're going to get independent researchers in to give us a handle on what nationalisation will do for this country, how it will affect our economy, they said, no, we're not interested. You must do that within the framework of the African National Congress. African National Congress respond, saying in 1994-95 we introduced the new legislation which gave us ownership of that metal. That's where it became nationalised. It's already nationalised. We don't want to actually nationalise operations because we can't pay for it. It will cost us trillions of dollars. So that's the debate, and it's ongoing. And I think hiding behind that debate is a political agenda. Certain people are getting power positions by taking positions around nationalisation, state mining companies, etc. So the industry's a lever in the future political dispensation, and so it's highly politicised, this whole debate.
Well, we'll keep looking out for that. Thanks, Martin.
Great, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insight into what's happening in the mining world.